Describe a friend you like to talk with. You should say, who is Hesha? What do you like to talk about? Why do you like to talk with his Saner? And explain how you feel about him.
I'd like to talk about my best friend, Ahmed. We've been close since high school, and even though we now live in different cities, we still keep in touch regularly. I enjoy talking with Ahmed because we could discuss a wide range of topics from everyday life and career plans to entertainment like movies and sports. He is also a great listener and gives practical advice whenever I face challenges. Another reason I like talking to him is his great sense of humor. Our conversations are always fun and help me relax. Although we sometimes have different opinions, we respect each other's perspectives, which makes our discussions more interesting. I feel extremely lucky to have Ahmed as a friend because he is supportive, reliable, and always there when I need someone to talk to. Conversations with him make me feel happier and more confident.
Okay, great. So what are the differences between talking to a friend and talking to a stranger?
Um, Talking to a friend is much more comfortable because you already have trust and a shared history. You can talk about personal matters and express yourself freely. However, with a stranger, conversations are usually more formal and focused on general topics like the weather or current events. People tend to be more cautious when talking to strangers because they don't know their reactions or opinions.
Okay, what makes a good listener?
A good listener is someone who pays close attention, asks relevant questions, and responds in a thoughtful way. For example, a good listener makes eye contact and avoids interrupting while the other person is speaking. They also show empathy by acknowledging the speaker's feelings and offering helpful feedback when necessary.
All right. On what occasions do people talk with strangers?
People often talk to strangers in social situations, such as at parties, conferences, or networking events. They also interact with strangers in everyday situations, like asking for directions, ordering food at a restaurant, or making small talk while waiting in a queue. Sometimes people even start conversations with strangers on public transport if they find something in common.
Okay. Do you think people should be honest when talking with friends?
Yes, honesty is very important in friendships because it builds trust. Friends rely on each other for genuine advice and support. However, honesty should always be delivered in a kind and considerate manner. For example, if a friend asks for an opinion on something sensitive, it's best to be truthful, but also tactful to avoid hurting their feelings.
All right. What do young people talk about when they meet up?
Young people typically talk about topics related to their interests, such as music, movies, social media trends, or personal experiences. They might also discuss their studies, career goals, or relationships. Sometimes they talk about their future plans like vacations or upcoming events they're excited about.
Okay, and where do young people like to meet?
Young people enjoy meeting in casual and lively places like cafes, parks, shopping malls, or restaurants. Cafes are popular because they provide a cozy atmosphere for chatting, while parks offer a more relaxed setting for outdoor activities. Shopping malls and entertainment centers are also common choices, since they provide multiple options for fun and socializing. So that was our Band 8 simulation. You could hear a solid response in Part 2, covering all the bases clearly. And then in Part 3, the answers were relevant and easy to follow.
Yeah. The language was generally fluent and the ideas were coherent. What was good in the Band 8 response is there were justifications and a couple of examples, which are good indicators of a Band 8 level. Now let's listen to the Band 9 response and see what subtle yet significant differences emerge.
Okay, let's hear it.
All right. Describe a friend you like to talk with. You should say, who is Hisha? What do you like to talk about? Why do you like to talk with him, Sir? And explain how you feel about him.
I'd like to describe my closest friend, Priya. We met in college over a decade ago, and since then she has been an essential part of my life. Our conversations cover a wide range of topics from personal experiences and career aspirations to philosophical discussions and current affairs. She has an incredible ability to listen attentively and offer insightful advice, which makes her one of the few people I completely trust with my thoughts and concerns. One of the reasons I love talking to Priya is that she challenges my perspectives, helping me see things from different angles. At the same time, she has a fantastic sense of humor, which makes even serious discussions enjoyable. I deeply appreciate our friendship because she is both emotionally supportive and intellectually stimulating. Whenever we talk, I come away feeling more inspired and optimistic.
Okay, beautiful. So what are the differences between talking to a friend and talking to a stranger?
Conversations with friends are typically more relaxed and meaningful because there's a foundation of trust and understanding. With friends, people feel comfortable sharing personal thoughts and emotions. On the other hand, conversations with strangers tend to be more superficial and cautious, often revolving around neutral topics like work travel or general observations. People may gradually open up to strangers, but initially they tend to be more reserved. Notice the use of meaningful here. It adds a layer of depth beyond just comfortable.
Okay, great. What makes a good listener?
A good listener is someone who is fully present in the conversation, shows genuine interest, and responds appropriately. They engage with the speaker by maintaining eye contact, nodding, and asking follow-up questions to encourage deeper discussion. A great listener also refrains from interrupting and provides thoughtful feedback rather than jumping to conclusions or offering unsolicited advice.
All right, great. On what occasions do people talk with strangers?
People interact with strangers in various scenarios, such as social events, professional settings, and travel experiences. Networking events, for instance, encourage people to initiate conversations with strangers to build professional connections. Similarly, travelers often engage with locals or fellow tourists to seek recommendations or share experiences. Additionally, in emergency situations, people may have to communicate with strangers to ask for assistance. The phrase various scenarios is a slightly more sophisticated way of saying situations.
Okay. Do you think people should be honest when talking with friends?
Absolutely. Honesty is the foundation of a strong friendship, as it fosters trust and transparency. However, it's essential to balance honesty with sensitivity. For instance, if a friend asks for an opinion on a difficult matter, it's important to provide truthful feedback while being mindful of their feelings. Constructive honesty rather than blunt criticism helps maintain a healthy and supportive friendship.
Great. What do young people talk about when they meet up?
Young people often discuss a mix of personal interests, social trends, and future aspirations. Their conversations may include entertainment topics such as movies, music, or viral social media content. They also talk about their academic or career progress, relationships, and upcoming plans such as vacations or events. In some cases, deep conversations about societal issues or personal growth also emerge, depending on the individuals involved. The inclusion of societal issues and personal growth hints at a broader intellectual curiosity.
Good. And where do young people like to meet?
Young people tend to gather in places that offer a comfortable and engaging atmosphere, such as trendy cafes, rooftop restaurants, or recreational parks. Many also prefer entertainment hubs like cinemas, bowling alleys, or gaming centers where they can socialize while engaging in fun activities. Additionally, co-working spaces and bookshops are becoming increasingly popular among young professionals and students who enjoy spending time in inspiring environments. The addition of inspiring environments adds another dimension to the reasons behind their choices. Okay, so we've heard of the Band 8 and the Band 9 response to the same exact questions. What would you say is like the biggest difference, the thing that really stood out?
Yeah, I think what's really interesting is that the Band 9 response elevates the communication through several subtle but impactful layers. So in part 2, for example, both addressed all the prompts clearly, but the Band 9 used a more varied and sophisticated vocabulary. Words like essential, insightful, and phrases like challenges my perspectives, intellectually stimulating these, not only convey the meaning, but also add this layer of depth and precision, which makes the speaker sound more articulate and thoughtful.
Yeah, I felt like with the Band 9 speaker, it wasn't just about describing a friend, but more like really conveying the significance of the friendship.
Exactly. And building on that richer vocabulary, the Band 9 candidate also demonstrated a greater command of sentence structure, weaving ideas together more fluidly with complex clauses and varied sentence beginnings. And this contributes to what examiners call grammatical range and accuracy, which is a key component of the scoring criteria. The transitions between ideas also felt smoother.
And I thought in part 3, the Band 9 answers kind of offered a slightly broader perspective and like slightly more nuanced explanations. For example, when talking about what makes a good listener, the Band 9 response emphasized being fully present and providing thoughtful feedback rather than jumping to conclusions or offering unsolicited advice, which is a more insightful understanding of active listening.
Right, exactly. And even the examples provided were often a bit more specific or carried a bit more weight, like mentioning networking events as a context for talking to strangers to build professional connections, or co-working spaces and bookshops as meeting places for young professionals seeking inspiring environments. It's not just about having an idea, but articulating it with a higher degree of precision and a more sophisticated use of language. The overall flow also felt more natural, with fewer hesitations, which contributes to fluency and coherence.
So it's not like this huge change. It's more like all these small things that kind of add up to get you from a band 8 to a band 9.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And understanding these distinctions, even if IELTS isn't on your horizon, it offers valuable insights into what constitutes truly effective communication in any situation. It highlights that communicating clearly and effectively involves not just getting your point across, but doing so with precision, depth, and a thoughtful use of language.
Yeah, so think about in your own communication, how can you make it more impactful through more precise language?
Yeah, and think about when you encounter certain speakers that you find particularly compelling or insightful. Often it's these very nuances that we've been dissecting today. That careful choice of words, the thoughtful development of ideas, and the overall fluency of their delivery.
Yeah, and that's all stuff that we can all kind of work towards.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, this has been really interesting. I'm curious to know what you listening think. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.